Hello, everyone. My name is Joanna Daniel. I'm a counselor, an author, and a founder of Wounds to Scars, where we work with adult survivors of childhood trauma and women who experience abuse. We do that through conferences, retreats, and online courses. Our next retreat is online, so you can view from the safety of your home wherever you are in the world. And it's going to be June 3 to 6, and you can sign up below this video. Today, I want to talk about abandonment, emotional abandonment, and how this plays out in abusive relationships. And when a relationship is emotionally abusive, it's often difficult to see it, to understand it, to understand the dynamics and see what's happening. So I'm going to talk about, and sometimes before I go on, sometimes women doubt themselves, like, is this it? Am I making things up? Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Right? So I want you to know to trust yourself. So what is that, and how does that occur? So when emotional abandonment occurs when our emotional needs are not met, when we feel rejected, we feel lonely and sad, and it can be really difficult to live with. So this happens in an abusive relationship through where the abuser cuts the victim off from any further emotional contact with themselves. So you might be given the silent treatment. Silence and withdrawal is used as punishment. And at these times, because you're cut off from family and friends and other vital support, you're feeling really alone at this time. Because the perpetrator would have distanced you, would have isolated you from other sources of support. And so the sense of abandonment is felt keener then. So often the abuser will come back. They might return just as you're settling into that phase and you're doing things for yourself. You're getting used to it because it's a cycle, it's a pattern. You're understanding the pattern now, and you may have developed a way of coping. And so they'll come back just as you start to form, you're starting to form other forms of support. You might be praying again, you might be ringing your friend again, you might be returning text messages a little bit more regular than you used to before. You might answer the phone, you might be meeting up with people. You might come from work smiling, different ways that they might see that you're coping. They don't want you to cope. The idea is isolated from other people, cut you off from themselves emotionally, and leave you in that place of pain. So if you're looking like you're coming back, then they might start to want to appear to connect, because they can't appear to connect, because they're sensitive to the shift from the devastation that they want you to experience through their withdrawal. And they might be sensitive to your strength growing back, you're coming back. And then they will start the love bombing phase at this stage. They will start to love bomb you, and you might know what this phase feels like for you in your relationships. So they might start to give you gifts. They might want to talk, want to do things with you. They might want to, they will make lots of promises at this time. Maybe promises of meeting your needs, and this might ignite hope in you again, even though you know that you're going around this circle for the 100th time. But for the 100th time, you're going to have hope again, that maybe this time, because you fasted and you prayed, you spoke to people, pastor spoke to them, and different things happen, you are hopeful again. It ignited hope that this time something is going to be different. And for the 100th time, they would have done the same thing. So, they might do things like give you gifts. They might take you out to dinner. They might start looking after the children, helping with the children. They might start their children, mind you. They might start Bible study and worship in the home. And those are the things that they know that you long for. And especially when the spiritual piece is in place, they will do lots of things that appear spiritual because they know that you want them to be a spiritual man, because that's who you met, right? So they might start some of those things in order to make it look like they're attentive, they're responsive, and they're going to be present, right? But what you will realize is that the verbal promises won't be kept. They won't be kept, right? And so that you will, because it appears that way in the beginning, you might start to give up your source of support that you were developing through the time when they were distant. And they move in really quickly and hard so that you give up your source of support. That's what they want you to do, because they want you to be isolated again. So you give up your source of support that you had the potential, that had the potential to meet your need, and once again turn to him because there was hope. But that hope is dashed again when the cycle of abandonment begins again. Because just as you're settling in, then we will see the tension building phase starts again, when more things begin to happen, that you will see that once again the disappointment and a feeling of loss. And sometimes women in this place feels a lot of shame, because they were developing friendships, they were developing relationships, they were connecting with God once again, and in come this person whom they love and want to continue to learn how to love, feeling that maybe this time they are learning how to love and it's not happening, and it's a real sense of loss again. And you know, I understand that feeling of shame. I understand that feeling of sadness, the deep sense of loss, that you're going to start the grief process again. I understand that, and I want you to know that you're not alone, and there are ways that you can get help and support. I'm going to talk through now some of the stuff that you can do to begin to help yourself. So how do you get out? How do you get out of this crazy making cycle? One, you didn't start the crazy making cycle. It's not you. I want you to know that. I want you to tell yourself that often. This crazy making cycle is not you. You didn't do anything for it to start, and you can't stop it for anybody except for yourself, right? Only you can come off it. You can't do anything to make them stop. So one is, tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself that what you're experiencing is true. The cycle is true. The feeling of abandonment is true. The lack of emotional connection is true. The love bombing is true. The distance is true. The withdrawal is true. All of it is true. Tell yourself that it's true. Because in order for anything to change for you, you have to tell yourself it's true. You have to acknowledge that this is true and come to that place of acceptance. It can be challenging, but I'm holding you. I'm with you. Stay with me, okay? It's true. It's real. You're not making it up. Your feelings are not easily hurt. You're not sensitive. Okay? The feelings, the hurt that you feel is valid. The shame that you're feeling is valid, even though it's not yours. You're not sensitive and unreasonable. You deserve your needs to be met. And all of that's happening is true. You're living with somebody who can't meet your emotional needs, and they withdraw. You feel like you're living with a permanent hole in the center of your chest. Your heart is broken constantly. That's true. It's true that you struggle sometimes to get out of bed, struggle to just do day-to-day simple tasks, because emotional abandonment can lead to anxiety and depression. That's true. But it's also true that healing is possible, right? So the first thing is how to get out. Tell yourself the truth. Without telling yourself the truth and owning what it is and naming it, you won't be able to do anything about it. And after you've done that, I'm going to tell you some things that you can do to anchor yourself. Find and keep an anchor, someone or a practice that will help you stay, even if they leave you during the love bombing phase, that can help you stay steady, stop the world from spinning. Ask if this might be a friend that understands that and has the emotional capacity and bandwidth to love you through it. They don't need to know what happens. They don't need to know the specifics, the ins and outs, but they're able to love you through it. That you might never tell them. You might not return their messages for days. You might not return their calls for days, but it's a friend that you know is not going anywhere. They're going to be there. And these people are rare. So if you have them, hold on to them, right? And number 2 for anchoring is spiritual practices. Spiritual practices such as prayer, Bible study, music, alone time with God, practices that will help you experience a sense of holding and peace, a place that perhaps is absence from human contact, but where you can you can feel refreshed and revived when you go there. These have the ability to keep you until you're able to get to long-term support, so that you can work through, process, and understand this experience of not having your emotional needs met, and how you can manage. Whatever you decide to do, please know one thing. You are worthy. The abuser will try to step in when he sees that you're getting stronger, convince you otherwise. You might label your spiritual practices as show and works. Might tell you that your friend are not a good person for you to be with. They might tell lies that will convince you that you need to give up on the friendship and might shame you into giving up on your spiritual practices. They might tell you that you only do it because of whatever. And if you feel like they are more spiritually mature than you, it might cause you to give up on things that you know to be true and that you know to be helpful. Just know that that is possible, that that could happen. Just know that it's not true and you're going to need it in order to go through. So practice these two things. Tell yourself the truth and find places where you can be anchored. Stop the world from spinning. Because as the world stops spinning, that you're able to really think, clear your frontal lobe where you do reasoning and thinking, and you can make a decision about what will be the next steps for you on this journey. Thank you for being here. Take care. Please like and subscribe to this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with anybody you know would benefit from this information and those two things of what they can, the support that we offer here at Wounds to Scars. Take care. Bye.